Hi there, welcome to another one of my point and shoot videos. As promised, I'm going to do a walk around of my Rhinoceros XN08, the Chinese import digger. I've got a couple of videos out there. I'm trying to not to make them too long, and no editing. I'm just trying to put them up whenever I've got a bit of time. So a quick walk around. There'll be another video of what I like and what I don't like, which is really a separate video in itself. And also a video of some mods I've already done and some mods I think I'd like to do. Had the machine I've had it about 3 months now, getting on to up to about 45 hours. I bought it with it came with the 200, 300 and 500 ml buckets. I had the quick hitch and the ripping hook thrown in as part of the deal. And I also bought the 800 ml hydraulic tilting grading bucket, and I think within £100 anyway, I think all in, delivered to my address, was £7,000. But that was a couple of months ago, and I know they've gone up a few £100 by now already. Anyway, I've got it up in the air off the ground, not really to prove a point, so we can look at a couple of the other bits. Anyway, overall it's built like a tank, albeit in some areas a bit crudely. If you look at the kingpin area here, you can see the welds are reasonably good. You know, the thickness, that's the like the base plate of the machine, if you like. This appears to be a casting. I don't think it's not a forging, but you can see in general, you know, it's pretty neatly welded, and it's pretty heavy duty. All the pivot points have got bushes and grease nipples. There's another story I'll tell you about the grease nipples. So all the bushes and pivot points have got grease nipples. Okay. This is a offset and a swing boom model, not the plain XN08. And if you want an explanation of the offset and the swing boom, I've done a separate video on that. These are the hydraulic drive motors for the back. I'm not sure whether they're a vane or a gear motor, but there's no gearbox in them as such. They're not. I don't believe they're like got a planetary gearbox in them. There's no drain on them, so it's all lubricated by the hydraulic fluid. You can see here a pretty well built underframe. Okay, I think that's about a 12 mil half-inch plate below the turntable there, and all these sections will climb underneath the back. All these sections are not open, they're boxed in. So this isn't just a U-channel here. This is actually, if we can get to there, it's all closed in. Okay, there's the turntable underneath there with the guards around it. Again, pivot points in here. I don't think they're probably bushed, but they've got grease nipples, as is the ram down here. You can see the dozer blade is pretty well built. Again, U section, but actually closed off at the back. Nice beefy boxy section. Plenty of support across here, not just a piece of steel in line like that. And again with the back, thick material for the dozer blade, and also, if we can see here, it's closed in at the back. Okay, so double skinned effectively. Tracks are okay. I've seen some of these with the other competitor machines, chunkier tracks, but that can be a good thing and a bad thing in a way. If you're working on delicate areas, you can chew the area up, but the tracks are fine. So there's a cross brace there, which looks like a 2x1 box, but some of the welding's not overly pretty, but all pretty peefy. And this is the continuation of the bottom plate from the front. Counterweight on the back, those are the big chunky bolts that hold it in. That little hole underneath there, Can we see up there? That is the drain plug where you drain the oil out, and you can actually see the thickness of the base plate there. So all flat, reasonably flat underneath here, nothing to get caught up. Okay, so all good underneath here. I'd say the counterweight on the back also acts as a good scuff bumper. Let's get up off the floor. Track adjustment is somewhere in here, through this little hole here, and it's just a bolt, not the hydraulic, the grease type. Okay, now up to the top. A couple of remote grease nipples here. One's, I think they're both for the turntable. I think one's for the because one has a substantial amount in the other, so I think one is actually for the pivot and the other one is for the actual turn, you know, the ball race around the outside itself. Okay, what else can I show you? A little addition of mine, explain more to that in my mods. Fuel tank gauge, it's got 10 on it, but it's not 10 litres. That's sort of 20, 40, 60, 80, 100%. I think it holds about 7.5 litres. Really economical. Throttle stop. These bungs up here are the potential for fitting oil cooler. I've seen some of the European videos with that on it. Main access is from this side, although you can squeeze up the other side. Hydraulic gauge down there. I think it holds about 17 litres of oil in total. Rubber hose lines all the way, no steel lines on here. We'll talk about that later in what I don't like videos. The boom cylinder seems to be slightly bigger, obviously, than the rest of them. It's got auxiliary ports on here, which is controlled by the right hand pedal down there. Full cab. So the cab is really good. Keeps you, especially a sunny day like, keeps you out of the sun. In the rain, you can see it really throws off the back, so you don't get too many drips down the back of your net, and throws well off the front. So it pretty much covers the controls and you. Also, what I like, especially when you've got the machine on a bit of a tilt, it's been nice to be able to grab this front frame, pull yourself up. And sometimes, if you're a funny angle, I've actually grabbed both sides to pull yourself up. If the machine's on a bit of a tilt, you have to get on from an awkward side and pull yourself up. Up on the controls, this is the dozer blade, up and down, normal controls for that. Tracks forward, backwards, and this is for the swing boom, to swing the boom left or right. This pedal is a dead pedal, it's just a footrest, and the other pedal down there controls the auxiliary ports for the accessories you've got on the end. Okay, fuel tank there, so fuel tank's external fill, so you don't have to get in here every day if you want it. As is the fuel gauge, I think I mentioned that, it's external so you can see it. Copy of single cylinder Yamaha diesel. Air filter there, not that you should need to change that often, because my hydraulic tank's on the left because it's swing boom. Hydraulic filler and breather. That's the fuel tank. Looks like 3mm plate. There's the single cylinder Yamaha. That over there isn't original. This is one of my mods which I'll talk about. I've got a return line filter on mine, and I'll explain that later, with an oil temperature sensor which I'm monitoring at the moment. Isolating solenoid there. Some people call it a starter solenoid by mistake. It's actually the solenoid the solenoid for the start motor is on the starter motor. That is actually isolates all the electrics when you've got the ignition off. Fuel filter down there. You can see the fuel filter behind there. Bit of room in, plenty of ventilation on here, and a bit of ventilation on the back. The exhaust comes out there. A bit of a thermal, can you see that? Thermal blanket, heat shield on the exhaust. dipstick is the orange thing right down the bottom there, so that's a bit awkward. Got to do a bit of reach down here, and it's a bit more awkward since I put this, but I try to optimize it. I've seen there's an Australian guy, he's put a cutout in here with a little door to access that. I thought about going on that road, but I've been thinking about it more and more. I might actually just have a hole and a tool that I can take the dipstick out with, like a bung, if you know what I mean. You wouldn't be able to extend the dipstick through that because the engine does vibrate a little bit idle, so you'd probably snap the dipstick off. Back of the seat, this is one of the areas which is a little bit crude. It's just a flat plate with the hinges tack welded or welded on, but it is fairly chunky steel. It's like, just imagine it's 2.5 mil, and it works well. I've upgraded the knobs. I've got little rubber bushes because of the gap between there and there, just to fill that up, and it stops the nuts falling off when you take it, because ideally you should be checking the oil every day before you use it. So this is up and down, so I say the remote access to the oil dipstick is essential. There's sort of a little bit of a subframe in here. It's like 1.5 inch box, mainly around the edges here, but and this has proved quite handy for like mounting accessories on, especially if I'm thinking about putting an oil cooler, which I might try and put it down there. I'm not sure that, which is why I'm monitoring the oil temperature to see whether it actually needs one or not. What else can I tell you about it? Not a lot else really. That's about it. It was just to show you, really, explain a little bit. There's videos going into plenty of details. That these are pretty well built, pretty well put together. Where it's just sort of let down is the detail fit and finish. Well, what do you expect, you know? For the money is, for example, here, you think, well, a bit of a sharp edge here. You think they sort of deal with all this sort of stuff, you know, and there's a few snots on it from the MIG welding and stuff, and like this isn't overly brilliant, this weld here, but where it matters, as in the structure and the important bits, it's fine, which is the important thing. It's doing a job. It's not here to look pretty. I say in my previous video, it always amazes me how they can make these machines, invert commas, just good enough, or you know, good enough to do the job. So yeah, all in all, pretty pleased with it so far. Next video is going to be what I like and what I don't like about it, and we'll go from there. Thanks.